My husband and my gay best friend fell in love. They've had a year-long affair. Now they want us all to live together and raise the kids. I'm falling apart. My name is Rachel, and just 3 days ago, my perfect life, the one I thought was unbreakable, rock solid, shattered into a million pieces. I'm telling you this story because I honestly feel like I'm losing my mind, caught in a nightmare I can't wake up from. It all started with a simple Tuesday night dinner. It was a Tuesday, just like any other. I'd made spaghetti, the kind my kids always devour. My husband, Derek, and I were sitting at the kitchen table, surrounded by the beautiful chaos of our family, Lily, our spirited 7-year-old, and Mason, our curious 5-year-old. We were laughing about Mason's latest soccer mishap and Lily's upcoming school play, just normal, mundane, perfect family stuff. Then, Derek's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, and in an instant, his entire face just drained of color. It was like watching a switch flip. He stood up so fast his chair screeched against the floor, a sound that pierced the cozy hum of our dinner. "I need to take this," he muttered, already halfway out the door, heading for the garage. The kids, bless their oblivious hearts, didn't notice. But I did. Oh, I absolutely did. Derek never did that. Our golden rule, since Lily was a baby, was no phones at the table. Family dinner was sacred. It was his thing to be fully present, fully focused on us. A cold dread began to creep into my stomach. I tried to brush it off, told myself it was probably work, he's a project manager, urgent calls happen. But my gut screamed something was wrong. Something was terribly, horribly wrong. He came back about 10 minutes later. His eyes were red-rimmed, swollen, like he'd been crying, or was desperately holding back tears. "You okay?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. He nodded, but wouldn't meet my gaze. "Yeah, just work drama." The lie hung heavy in the air. Later that night, after the kids were finally asleep, I found him. Sitting in our bedroom, in the dark, on the edge of the bed, just staring at nothing. My heart hammered against my ribs. "Derek," I said, my voice shaking, "what's going on?" He looked at me then, and I swear, I saw something break in his eyes. "We need to talk," he said, his voice raw. "But not tonight. This weekend. I promise, we'll talk this weekend. We need to talk." Those 4 words are the ones you never, ever want to hear, are they? Everyone knows what they mean. The panic flared, sharp and hot. "Just tell me now," I pleaded, my voice tight with fear. "Are you having an affair?" The question just burst out. I don't even know why I asked it. Derek and I? We'd been together for 12 years, married for 9. We were solid. We were the couple. The ones other couples looked at and said, relationship goals. We barely even fought. He didn't answer right away. And that silence, that agonizing, deafening silence, was the answer. My world spun. "Oh my God," I whispered, the air leaving my lungs. You're cheating on me." "Rachel, it's not that simple," he finally said, his voice barely audible. "Not that simple?" My mind screamed. How is it not that simple? Are you sleeping with someone else? Yes or no? Yes, he said quietly, his head bowed. But it's not what you think. I felt the floor drop out from under me. I sat down hard on the bed beside him, my legs suddenly too weak to hold me. How long? About a year. A year. An entire year of my life, a year of dinners, holidays, birthdays, scraped knees, and bedtime stories, was apparently a lie. My voice felt distant, like it wasn't even coming from me. Who is she? Derek was quiet for a long time. Too long. And then, he finally said, the words hitting me like a physical blow, "It's not a she." My brain actually rebooted. What? It's Marcus. Marcus? My Marcus? My best friend Marcus? My openly gay best friend Marcus, who I've known since college. Marcus, who is the best man at our wedding. Marcus, who comes over every Sunday for brunch. Marcus, who babysits our kids. Marcus, who I tell everything to. That Marcus? I actually laughed. A harsh, choked sound that wasn't funny at all, but the sheer absurdity of it all was too much. You're joking, I gasped, tears streaming down my face. This is some kind of sick joke, right? I'm not joking, Rachel. I'm so sorry. I never meant for this to happen. Neither of us did. Marcus is gay. I interrupted, my voice rising. He's been openly gay since he was 16. He dated men all through college. He's gay. I know, Derek said, his voice filled with an unfamiliar pain. I thought I was straight. I've always thought I was straight. But Rachel, I'm not. I'm bisexual, and I'm in love with him. I shot up from the bed. The room was spinning. I felt like I was going to throw up, or pass out, or both. Get out, I choked out, pointing a trembling finger at the door. Rachel, please, get out. Get out of this room. Get out of this house. I can't even look at you right now. Derek started crying then, truly, openly sobbing, but I didn't care. I couldn't care. My husband of 9 years and my best friend of 15 years had been lying to me for an entire year. He left. I heard him pack a bag, heard the front door click shut. I sank to our bedroom floor, numb. Too shocked to cry. That was Tuesday night. Wednesday morning, I had to get up. I had to make breakfast, pack lunches, pretend that everything was normal for Lily and Mason. Daddy had to go on a work trip, I told them, my voice smooth, practiced. Lily, ever perceptive, asked why he didn't say goodbye. I mumbled something about it being last minute. The moment I dropped them at school, I called Marcus. He answered on the first ring. Rachel, don't, I snapped. Don't say my name like that. Don't say anything, actually. I'm coming over. I drove to his apartment, the same apartment I'd been to 1,000 times. The place where we'd watched movies, drunk wine, talked about everything. Where he'd supported me through my dad's passing 2 years ago. Where I'd helped him through his terrible breakup with his ex-boyfriend, Kevin. Marcus opened the door before I could even knock. He looked as terrible as Derek had, dark circles, disheveled hair, defeat etched on his face. We just stood there, staring at each other. How could you? I finally managed, the words tearing from my throat. How could you do this to me? I never wanted to hurt you, he said, his voice shaking. Rachel, you have to believe me. This is killing me. You're killing me, I shot back, the anger finally breaking through the shock. You are my best friend, my person. And you've been sleeping with my husband behind my back for a year. It wasn't like that. It wasn't some casual thing, Rachel, I'm in love with him. Oh, well, that makes it so much better, I spat, a bitter laugh escaping me. You're in love with him? Great. Wonderful. That totally justifies destroying my family. That's not fair. Not fair? My voice was rising now, trembling with fury. You want to talk about fair? Was it fair to smile at me every Sunday while you were having an affair with my husband? Was it fair to let me cry on your shoulder about work stress and kid? Problems, while you were probably texting Derek the whole time? Was it fair to act like my best friend while you were the biggest liar in my life? Marcus started crying too, big, ugly tears, but I was done caring about his feelings. How did it even start? I demanded, needing to understand this unthinkable betrayal. I need to know. I need to understand how two people I trusted more than anyone in the world could betray me like this. He wiped his eyes. Last October. You remember when Derek helped me move furniture into this place? I did remember. I'd stayed home with the kids, thinking it was a simple favor. They'd been gone for hours, and I just assumed they grabbed dinner. We were just talking, Marcus continued, about everything. About life. He told me he'd been having these thoughts, these feelings about men, that he'd been suppressing his whole life. He was having this identity crisis, and he didn't know how to talk to you about it. He was scared you'd leave him, or think differently of him. So, you decided to sleep with him instead of telling him to talk to his wife? No. It wasn't like that. I just listened. I told him it was okay to question things. I told him he should talk to you. And we left it at that. But then a few weeks later, he texted me. Said he couldn't stop thinking about our conversation. We met for coffee. Then coffee turned into more meetings. We were just talking at first, just friends. But then... Then what? I barked, my patience gone. Then one night in December, we kissed. And everything changed. I felt nauseous. December. Christmas with my parents. Mason's 5th birthday. Everything had seemed so perfectly normal. Where? I asked, needing to know every sickening detail. Where have you been doing this? Mostly here. Sometimes in his car. Once or twice at a hotel when we could both get away. Did you do it in my house? In my bed? No. God, no, Rachel, never. We would never. Oh, you have boundaries? I scoffed. How noble. We stood there in his living room, the same living room where I'd painted my toenails on his couch just 2 weeks ago while we watched reality TV. Everything looked the same, but nothing would ever be the same. I should have told you sooner, Marcus whispered. We both should have, but we didn't know how. And then the longer it went on, the harder it got. We kept saying we'd tell you next week, next month. We kept saying we needed to figure things out first. And I know that's not an excuse. I know we're horrible people, but Rachel, I swear I never stopped caring about you. You're still my best friend. I'm not your best friend, I stated, my voice cold. Best friends don't do this. You're nothing to me. You're just another person who lied to my face. I left before he could say anything else. I drove around for an hour, aimlessly, because I couldn't go home yet. I couldn't be in that house with all those memories, now utterly tainted. My phone buzzed relentlessly, Derek, Marcus, Derek, Marcus. I ignored every single call. Finally, I went home. I had to pick up the kids soon. I had to pretend everything was fine. But that night, after the kids were asleep, Derek came back. He knocked on the door, and I almost didn't answer. But I knew we had to have this conversation. I let him in. We sat in the living room like strangers. I'm sorry, he said, his voice raw. I'm so sorry, Rachel. You didn't deserve this. You've been an amazing wife and an incredible mother, and I've ruined everything. Why? I asked, the only question that mattered. Why? Was I not enough? Was our life not enough? It has nothing to do with you. You were always enough. More than enough. But I was lying to myself for our entire relationship. I convinced myself I was straight because that's what I was supposed to be. That's what everyone expected. My parents, my friends, society. So, I fell in love with you, and I built this life with you, and it was real. All of it was real. I do love you, Rachel. I really do. Just not the way you love him, I finished for him. He didn't answer. And again, that was an answer. So, what now? I asked, the words hollow. You want a divorce? You're leaving me for Marcus? We want to talk to you about something, Derek said carefully. Both of us together. But I know you're not ready for that yet. Talk to me about what? He hesitated. About a solution. A way forward where nobody has to lose everything. What could that possibly mean? Just when you're ready, he added. There's something we want to propose, but only when you're ready to hear it. That was Wednesday night. Thursday, I took the day off work. I couldn't function. I just sat in my house in a daze while the kids were at school, scrolling through old photos on my phone. Derek and me on our wedding day. Marcus giving a speech at our reception about how happy he was that I'd found my soulmate. Family photos from every holiday, every birthday, every vacation. It felt like it was all a lie. But not all of it. Some of it was real. But how was I supposed to know which parts? My sister, Jennifer, called. She's 3 years older than me, and we're incredibly close. I hadn't told her anything yet, not knowing how to even begin to explain. Hey, she said, her voice warm, just checking in. You've been quiet lately. Everything okay? I burst into tears. Couldn't help it. I told her everything. Are you kidding me? She shrieked when I finished, her voice incredulous. Derek and Marcus? Together for a year? I know, Rachel. That's insane. That's actually insane. What are you going to do? I don't know, I choked out. I can't think. I can't process this. Derek keeps saying they want to talk to me about some kind of solution, but I don't even know what that means. You should hear them out, Jennifer said, her tone softening, becoming practical. I know you don't want to. I know you probably want to never see either of them again. But you have 2 kids with Derek. You need to figure out custody and finances and all that stuff, so maybe you should hear what they have to say. She was right. As much as I wanted to just run away from all of this, I couldn't. I had Lily and Mason to think about. Okay, I said, a sigh tearing from my chest. Okay, I'll talk to them. Friday morning, I texted Derek. Told him I was ready to hear whatever he wanted to say. He responded immediately, asking if he and Marcus could come over that evening, after the kids were at my mom's house. I arranged for my mom to take Lily and Mason for a sleepover. She was thrilled, she loves having them. She had no idea. Nobody did. At 7 p.m., Derek and Marcus showed up together. Seeing them walk up to my door, side by side, made me want to throw up. They looked like a couple. They were standing close to each other. Marcus's hand brushed Derek's arm. I let them in. We sat in the living room, them on the couch together, me in the armchair across from them. It felt like a setup. Like an intervention, but I was the one being intervened on. Thank you for agreeing to this, Derek started, his voice strained. Tell me what you want, I cut him off, my voice flat. Do you want a divorce? Custody arrangement? What? We don't want a divorce, Derek said. I stared at him. What? We've been talking, Marcus chimed in quickly. About everything. About what we want, about what's best for everyone, especially Lily and Mason. And we have a proposal, Derek continued. We know it's unconventional. We know it might sound crazy, but we're hoping you'll at least consider it. Consider what? They looked at each other. Some silent communication passed between them. We want to all live together, Derek said. The 4 of us? Well, the 5 of us. You, me, Marcus, and the kids. I literally could not believe what I was hearing. You want what? Think about it, Marcus said quickly, leaning forward, eager. The kids wouldn't have to go back and forth between two houses. We'd all be there for them. And you wouldn't have to do everything alone. We'd share responsibilities, share the parenting. It could actually be really good for them. By the way, if you're still with me and wondering how any of this is even possible, hit that subscribe button. You won't believe what happens next. Are you out of your minds? I said, my voice rising, louder than I intended. You think I want to live with my husband and his boyfriend? You think I want to watch you two be in love while I'm just what? The roommate? The third wheel in my own marriage? You wouldn't be a third wheel, Derek said, earnest. You'd be our family. We'd figure it out together. This is insane. This is actually insane. You're asking me to just accept that my husband is in love with someone else, and live with it. Literally live with it. We get a bigger house, Marcus offered, as if that was the problem. Somewhere with enough space for everyone to have privacy. Separate bedrooms. You wouldn't have to see anything you don't want to see. I don't want to see any of it, I snapped. I don't want to see you holding hands in the kitchen, or kissing goodnight, or whatever couple stuff you do. I don't want to hear it through the walls. I don't want to know about it. We understand this is hard, Derek said, his voice gentle. We know we're asking a lot, but Rachel, I still care about you. You're still my family. You're still the mother of my children. I don't want to lose you completely. And the kids, they need both of us. They can have both of us in a normal custody arrangement, I countered, my voice shaking with raw emotion. Week on, week off, or weekends, like normal divorced parents. But why should they have to go through that? Marcus asked, his expression almost pleading. Why should they have to pack bags and switch houses and feel like they're being torn between two homes? If we all lived together, they'd have stability, consistency, all three of their parents under one roof. You're not their parent, I snapped at Marcus. He flinched, as if I'd slapped him. I know I'm not technically, he stammered, but I love them like they're mine. I've been in their lives since they were born. I want to keep being in their lives. You should have thought about that before you started sleeping with their father, I spat. We all sat in silence. I was shaking, consumed by anger, disbelief, and about 17 other emotions I couldn't even name. This is called polyamory, Derek said quietly, almost a whisper. It's a real thing. People do it. Families do it. It's just about love and respect and communication. Love and respect? I repeated, a bitter laugh escaping me. You're talking to me about respect after lying to me for a year? You're right, he conceded. We don't deserve your respect. We don't deserve your consideration. But we're asking for it anyway, for the kids. Don't use the kids as an excuse for this. I raged. This isn't about the kids. This is about you two wanting to have your cake and eat it, too. You want to be together, but you don't want to deal with the consequences. You don't want to explain to Lily and Mason why Daddy doesn't live with Mommy anymore. You don't want to split holidays and birthdays, so you're asking me to just go along with this nightmare so you don't have to deal with the hard stuff? That's not true. Marcus insisted. Isn't it? Be honest. This arrangement benefits you two way more than it benefits me. They didn't have an answer for that. I need you to leave, I said, my voice flat, exhausted. Both of you. I can't do this right now. They left. Derek tried to hug me on his way out, but I stepped back, recoiling. I couldn't let him touch me. I spent the whole weekend alone. Mom kept the kids until Sunday evening. I didn't eat, barely slept, just sat with this impossible decision. Because here's the thing, as insane as their proposal was, there was this tiny, terrifying part of me that could see it. Could see how it might actually work. Not the romantic part, I could never, ever be okay with watching Derek and Marcus together. That would kill me. But the practical part, the kids really would benefit from having all of us around. I wouldn't have to parent alone half the time. We could afford a nicer place with 3 incomes. Lily and Mason wouldn't have to shuffle between houses. And there was this other thing I couldn't quite admit to myself yet, I didn't want to be alone. I didn't want to start over. I didn't want to be a divorced single mom at 34. I didn't want to split custody of my babies. I called Jennifer Sunday morning. "You're not seriously considering this?" she said when I told her about their proposal. "I don't know. Maybe." "Rachel." "No. Absolutely not. This is the craziest thing I've ever heard. You cannot agree to this." "But what if it could work? What if it won't work? How could it possibly work? You'd be living with your cheating husband and the man he cheated with. You'd have to see them together every single day. That's torture. That's actual psychological torture." "But the kids will be fine," Jennifer said firmly. "Kids adapt. They're resilient. You know what they won't be fine with? Growing up in a house full of tension and resentment and sadness, because that's what this would be. You think you can just turn off your feelings? You think you won't be devastated every time you see them look at each other? Every time they touch? Every time you realize your husband is in the next room with another person?" She was right. Of course, she was right. But I was so tired. Tired of crying. Tired of being angry. Tired of having to figure out what came next. What if I'm never going to find anyone else? I asked quietly, my voice raw. What if Derek was it for me, and now I'm going to be alone forever? "Then you'll be alone," Jennifer said gently. "And that's okay. That's better than this. Rachel, you deserve so much more than being someone's backup plan. You deserve someone who chooses you first, who loves you the way you deserve to be loved." "Derek did love me," I said, the past tense a heavy weight. "He loved you. Now he loves Marcus. And I'm sorry, but you can't build a life on past love. AF. Till I hung up with her, I made my decision. Monday morning, I texted Derek, told him my answer was no. I couldn't do what they were asking. We needed to proceed with the divorce and figure out a real custody arrangement. He called immediately. "Rachel, please, just think about it a little longer." "I have thought about it," I said, my voice steady, though my heart pounded. "The answer is no. What you're asking is impossible." "It's not impossible. There are whole communities of people who make this work." "Well, I'm not those people," I retorted. "I'm just a regular person who married someone I thought loved me, and now I need to move on with my life." "I do love you." "Stop saying that. If you loved me, you wouldn't have done this. If you loved me, you wouldn't be asking me to accept this." "We could try therapy," he said desperately. "The 3 of us. With a counselor who specializes in alternative families." "There is no 3 of us, Derek. There's you and Marcus. And then there's me. Separate. That's how it has to be." I hung up before he could say anything else. The next few days were about logistics, talking to a lawyer, looking at my finances, figuring out how to tell the kids. But then Wednesday afternoon, Marcus showed up at my door. "I can't do this," he said the moment I opened it, his eyes wild. "Rachel, I can't lose you. You're my best friend. You're my person. I need you in my life." "You should have thought about that before," I said, starting to close the door. He put his hand against it. "Wait, please. I need to tell you something. Something I should have told you a long time ago. What? He took a deep, shaky breath. I've been in love with you since college. The world tilted. What? I've been in love with you for 15 years. Since we met freshman year. That's why I've been in your life all this time. That's why I never moved away or drifted apart like other college friends do. Because I couldn't stand to not see you. But you're gay. I'm not exactly gay, he said, wringing his hands. I mean, I told everyone I was. I dated men exclusively. But the truth is, I'm bisexual, or maybe pansexual. I don't know. Labels are confusing. But the point is, I've always been attracted to you. I've just never let myself act on it because I knew you were straight. I knew you saw me as just a friend, so I pushed those feelings down, and I accepted being your best friend because that was better than nothing. My mind raced, trying to keep up. You're lying. You're just saying this to manipulate me into saying yes to your insane plan. I'm not lying. Ask anyone from college. Ask Jennifer. She knew. I told her sophomore year when I got drunk at that party. I made her promise never to tell you. My mind was truly reeling. Jennifer never told me? All these years? Then why did you sleep with Derek? I asked, my voice barely a whisper. If you love me, why would you hurt me like that? Because I'm a coward, Marcus said, his voice breaking. Because Derek was accessible in a way you never were. Because I could have something real with him instead of just dreaming about something I could never have with you. And yes, I know how selfish that sounds. I know I'm a terrible person, but Rachel, when I'm with Derek, I'm also still close to you. I'm still in your life. If I have to choose between having Derek or having you, I don't know if I can choose. That's not fair, I whispered, the words a raw wound. You can't tell me this now. You can't drop this on me after everything that's happened. I know. But I need you to understand this arrangement we're proposing. It's not just about Derek and me wanting to have everything. It's about me not being able to imagine a life where you're not in it. And maybe that makes me even more selfish. Maybe that makes this whole thing worse, but it's the truth. He left before I could respond. I called Jennifer immediately. Did you know Marcus was in love with me? There was a long pause. He told you, she finally said. So it's true. You knew, and you never told me. He made me promise. And Rachel, what good would it have done? You were with Derek. You were happy. Marcus knew nothing could happen. I figured it was better to just let it be. Better for who? For everyone? For you? You had this great friendship with him. Why ruin it by making things weird? Things are already weird, Jennifer. Things are the weirdest they've ever been. I hung up and just sat there. Everything I thought I knew about my life was wrong. Derek wasn't straight. Marcus wasn't just my gay best friend. My entire understanding of my relationships was based on lies. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about Marcus's confession, trying to remember if there were signs I'd missed. Moments that might have meant something different than I thought they did. Now that I was looking for them, there were so many. The way he always remembered my favorite things, my coffee order, my favorite songs, the exact way I liked my birthday cake. The way he looked at me sometimes when he thought I wasn't paying attention. The way he always made himself available whenever I needed him, no matter what else was going on in his life. How had I never seen it? Thursday, I asked my mom to watch the kids again. I needed to think. I needed space to process everything. I drove out to the state park where Derek and I used to go hiking, found our favorite trail, and just walked. What if I said yes to their arrangement? Not because I was okay with it, I wasn't okay with it. I would probably never be okay with it. But what if I said yes anyway? The kids would have both their parents, plus Marcus, who they already loved. We could afford a better life with 3 incomes. I wouldn't have to date or try to find someone new. I wouldn't have to explain to people that I was divorced before I even turned 35. And maybe there was this tiny possibility that having Marcus around would help. Because if he really had been in love with me all this time, and if he was choosing to be with Derek instead, then maybe seeing me every day would remind him of what he was giving up. Maybe it would hurt him the way he'd hurt me. Was that petty? Yes, absolutely. But I was entitled to a little pettiness after what they'd done. Or maybe I was just trying to rationalize an insane decision because I was too scared to face being alone. I sat on a rock overlooking the valley and called Derek. "I'll do it," I said when he answered. "I'll try your arrangement, but I have conditions." "Anything," he said immediately, his voice filled with relief. "Whatever you need. First, we find a house with enough space that I can have my own area. My own bedroom, bathroom, and a sitting room or something completely separate from where you and Marcus sleep." Done. Second, I don't want to see you two being affectionate. No kissing in common areas. No holding hands at the dinner table. Nothing. What you do in private is your business, but I don't want to witness it. Agreed. Third, we tell people we're trying an unconventional living arrangement for the kids. Sake. We don't use words like polyamory or throuple or whatever. We just say we're co-parenting in a modern way. Okay. Fourth, if this doesn't work, if I can't handle it, we end it immediately and proceed with a normal divorce. No guilt trips, no begging me to keep trying. Fair. And fifth, I said, my voice shaking, you both have to accept that I might never forgive you. I might be angry for a long time, and you can't hold that against me. We won't, Derek said, his voice thick with emotion. Rachel, thank you. Thank you for even considering this. I know it's asking everything of you. Yeah, I said, looking out at the vast, indifferent landscape. It is. We found a house 2 weeks later. It was bigger than anything we'd ever looked at before. 5 bedrooms, 2 main living areas, a big yard for the kids, in a good school district. It was expensive, but with 3 incomes, it was actually doable. We moved in early November. We told the kids it was an adventure, that Uncle Marcus was going to live with us now and help take care of them. They were thrilled. They loved Marcus. Lily asked why Daddy and I didn't share a room anymore. I told her grown-ups sometimes like their own space. She accepted this easily, the way kids do. The first few weeks were harder than I expected, and I'd expected it to be hard. Seeing Derek and Marcus together, even when they were trying so hard to be discreet, was agony. The way they looked at each other. The way Derek touched Marcus's shoulder when he walked past. The way Marcus made Derek's coffee in the morning without being asked, knowing exactly how he liked it. All the little intimacies that I used to share with Derek, that I thought were special, but apparently, they weren't special. They were just habits he could recreate with someone new. I spent a lot of time in my room, my sanctuary. I decorated it exactly how I wanted. Got nice bedding, set up a reading corner, made it mine. But I couldn't hide forever. We had to figure out how to be a family. Or whatever this was. We did family dinners, all 5 of us. Marcus cooked most nights, he was always the best cook out of all of us. We talked about the kids' days at school, helped with homework, played board games. From the outside, it probably looked almost normal. But it wasn't normal. Nothing about it was normal. I watched Derek and Marcus when they didn't think I was looking. Watched them be in love. Watched them be happy together. And something inside me broke a little more each day. Jennifer called me every other day. "Are you okay?" she'd ask. "How's it going?" "It's fine," I'd lie, my voice carefully neutral. "We're making it work." You don't sound fine. I'm adjusting. Rachel, you don't have to do this, she'd say, her voice firm. You can still leave. You can still get divorced and have a normal life. This is my life now, I'd say. I'm committed to making it work. But the truth was, I didn't know how much longer I could actually do this. Then December came. About a month after we'd all moved in together. We were decorating for Christmas. All of us in the living room. Lily and Mason were putting ornaments on the tree. Derek and Marcus were stringing lights. I was in the kitchen making hot chocolate. I watched them through the doorway. Derek said something that made Marcus laugh, a real, genuine laugh. Then Derek kissed his cheek. They'd been so careful not to be affectionate in front of me. But in that moment, they forgot. They were just happy. And I lost it. I dropped the spoon I was holding. It clattered loudly against the counter. Everyone looked over. I can't do this, I said, my voice shaking uncontrollably. I can't. I tried. I really tried, but I can't. Rachel, Derek started, stepping towards me. No, I cut him off, shaking my head. I'm done. This was a mistake. All of it. I can't live like this. I can't watch you two be happy together while I'm just miserable in my own house. I'm calling a lawyer after Christmas. We're getting divorced for real this time. I went to my room and locked the door. A few minutes later, there was a soft knock. Rachel, it was Marcus. Can we talk? No, please. Just for a minute. I opened the door. He was alone. I'm leaving, he said. What? I'm moving out. This isn't fair to you. We asked too much. I asked too much. I thought I could have everything, but I was wrong. Where will you go? I'll find another apartment. It's fine. You and Derek can figure out your marriage or your divorce or whatever you need. But you shouldn't have to live with me. That was selfish. Does Derek know you're saying this? Not yet. But he'll understand. He loves you, Rachel. He really does. Maybe not the way he loves me, but he does love you, and you deserve better than this. I thought you said you couldn't imagine a life where I wasn't in it, I said, my voice barely a whisper. I can't, he said quietly. But I'll have to learn. He left my room. I heard him and Derek talking in low voices downstairs. Heard Derek's voice rise in protest. Then go quiet. I cried. Not because I wanted Marcus to stay, but because I was losing something I didn't even fully understand. Some version of family that could have existed in another universe, where nobody had lied and betrayed and broken everything. Christmas was weird. We all pretended to be festive for the kids. Marcus was still there because he hadn't found a place yet. We did presents and Christmas dinner and everything we were supposed to do. But there was this heaviness in the house, this unspoken awareness that it was ending. The day after Christmas, Derek came to my room. We need to talk, he said. Okay. We sat on my bed, the same bed that used to be in our master bedroom when we were just a married couple with a normal life. I don't want a divorce, Derek said. Derek, we can't keep doing this. Not this arrangement. I agree this isn't working, but I don't want to lose you. I don't want to split our family. I don't understand what you're saying. Marcus is moving out. He found a place. He's leaving next week. And I think he should go. This 3-person thing was a mistake. But Rachel, what if it was just us again? You and me and the kids? You and me? What about Marcus? I'd still see him, but not here. Not in your home. We'd figure something out. Maybe he visits sometimes when you're not around. Or I meet him elsewhere. I don't know. We haven't worked out the details. But the point is, you wouldn't have to see it. Wouldn't have to live with it. I stared at him. So, you want to keep having an affair with Marcus, just not under my roof? I wouldn't call it an affair if you know about it. What would you call it then? An open marriage? You have got to be kidding me. Rachel, please just think about it. You'd have your husband back, your family back. Everything would go back to normal. I'd just also have Marcus in my life, separately. That's not normal, Derek. That's you having a boyfriend while staying married to me. Yes, that's exactly what it is. But would that be worse than getting divorced? Worse than the kids going back and forth between two houses? I couldn't believe we were having this conversation. I need time, I said. I need to think. Take all the time you need. But here's what I realized over the next few days. I'd already made my decision back when I agreed to the 3-person household. I'd already decided that keeping my family together, or some version of it, was more important than my pride or my dignity or what I thought marriage was supposed to be. So, what was the difference between having Marcus live with us and having Derek see him elsewhere? At least if Derek was seeing him elsewhere, I wouldn't have to watch. Wouldn't have to know the details. Maybe that was pathetic. Maybe I was being a doormat. Maybe I was accepting crumbs when I deserved the whole meal. But I was tired of fighting, tired of being angry, tired of imagining what my life would look like as a divorced single mom. So, I said yes. Marcus moved out right after New Year's. He took his furniture and his clothes and disappeared from my daily life. Derek and I settled into a new routine. He slept in the master bedroom. I kept my separate room. We co-parented the kids, had family dinners, went to school events together, and once a week, sometimes twice, Derek would say he was going to the gym or meeting friends. And I knew he was with Marcus. I didn't ask questions, didn't want details, just pretended those hours didn't exist. We were like roommates who happened to be married, who happened to share children, who happened to have the secret arrangement that nobody else knew about. We told everyone Marcus moved out because the 3-person household was too crowded. People accepted this. Nobody suspected anything else. From the outside, Derek and I looked like a normal married couple going through a rough patch, but trying to make it work. And in a way, I guess we were. Months passed. February, March, April. Lily's 8th birthday came. We threw her a party. Marcus came. It was the first time I'd seen him since he moved out. He brought her a beautiful gift, a necklace with her birthstone. She loved it. He and I barely spoke. Just polite small talk. How's work? How's your new place? Fine. Fine. Everything's fine. Derek and Marcus didn't show any affection at the party. They stayed on opposite sides of the yard most of the time, playing their parts. After all the guests left and Marcus was leaving, too, he pulled me aside. I miss you, he said. Don't, I replied, my voice flat. I know I don't have the right to miss you. I know I ruined everything, but it's true. I miss my best friend. That person doesn't exist anymore, Marcus. I need to go help clean up. I walked away before he could say anything else. That night, after the kids were in bed, Derek came to my room. This isn't working either, is it? He said. I looked at him, really looked at him. This man I'd loved for 12 years, who I'd built a life with, who I thought I'd grow old with. No, I said, my voice soft. It's not. What do we do? I don't know. We sat there in silence. Two people who used to be everything to each other, now just sitting in a room trying to figure out how we ended up here. Do you hate me? Derek asked, his voice barely a whisper. Sometimes, I admitted, but mostly I just feel sad. Sad about what we used to be. Sad about what we could have been. I'm sorry for all of it. For not being honest with myself sooner. For bringing you into this mess. Me too, I said. I'm sorry, too. For what? For not being enough to make you happy. Rachel, you were enough. You are enough. This has nothing to do with you being enough. Then what does it have to do with? It has to do with me figuring out who I am. And I know that's not your burden to carry. I know you didn't sign up for this, but I don't regret loving you. I don't regret our life together. Even if it ends up being temporary, I said. It feels like it already ended. Like we've been living in the ghost of our marriage for months. He didn't disagree. Maybe we should tell the kids, he said, his voice hesitant. About separating for real. About moving forward with a divorce. Maybe. But we didn't. Not that week. Not the next week. We just kept existing in this weird limbo. Then in May, something happened that changed everything. I met someone. His name was Nathan. He was a parent at Lily's school, a single dad with a daughter in her class. We'd been on a few PTA committees together, but never really talked much beyond logistics. Then one evening at a school fundraiser, we ended up sitting next to each other. Started chatting. Really chatting. About our kids, about work, about life. He made me laugh, actually laugh. Something I hadn't done in what felt like forever. At the end of the night, he asked if I wanted to get coffee sometime. I said yes. We got coffee that weekend while the kids were at activities. Talked for 3 hours. He told me about his divorce 2 years ago, how hard it was to rebuild his life, how he was still figuring out single parenting. I told him a carefully edited version of my story, that Derek and I were separated, that we were living together for the kids, but figuring out next steps. That must be really hard, Nathan said. It is, I admitted, but you seem like you're handling it well. I laughed. I'm really not. I'm kind of a mess. Aren't we all? He said, smiling. We got coffee again the next week. And the week after that. I didn't tell Derek. Didn't tell anyone except Jennifer, who was thrilled. Finally, she said. You're putting yourself first. It's just coffee. It's not a big deal. It's a huge deal. You're taking a step toward having your own life again, toward finding someone who will choose you first. I wanted to believe that was possible. Nathan and I kept seeing each other. Coffee turned into lunch. Lunch turned into dinner. Always when the kids were busy, always in this separate world from my real life. One night in June, after dinner at this Italian place, Nathan walked me to my car. I really like you, Rachel, he said, his hand lightly touching my arm. I like you, too. Can I kiss you? I hadn't kissed anyone except Derek in over a decade. Hadn't even thought about kissing someone else. But I said yes. And when Nathan kissed me, it felt like coming up for air after being underwater for too long. We stood there in the parking lot kissing like teenagers until we both started laughing at how ridiculous we probably looked. I should go, I said, pulling away, breathless. When can I see you again? Soon. I drove home feeling lighter than I had in months, maybe years. Derek was in the kitchen when I got home, making tea. You're home late, he said, not looking up. I had dinner with a friend. Which friend? Jennifer, I lied. He looked at me for a long moment. You seem different. Different how? I don't know. Happier. I didn't know what to say to that. Over the next few weeks, Nathan and I kept seeing each other. It was getting harder to hide, harder to keep making excuses for where I was. Jen. Knifer told me I needed to just tell Derek that I had every right to date other people, that we were essentially separated anyway. She was right, but I was scared. Scared of the confrontation. Scared of what it would mean. Finally, in early July, Derek found out. One of his coworkers saw me with Nathan at a restaurant. Mentioned it casually. Asked if that was my brother or something. Derek came home that night and came straight to my room. "Who is he?" he asked, his voice tight. My heart sank. "Who is who?" "The guy you've been seeing. Michael from work saw you two together. So, don't lie to me. His name is Nathan. He's a parent from Lily's school." "How long?" "Since May. Just coffee and dinner. Nothing serious." "Are you sleeping with him?" "No, we've just been talking, getting to know each other." Derek sat down on my bed. He looked devastated. "You're leaving me?" he said, his voice hollow. "Derek, you left me a year and a half ago when you started seeing Marcus. I've just been trying to hold on to something that was already gone. But I thought we were trying to make this work." "We were. We are. But what does making it work even mean? You have Marcus. Why shouldn't I have someone, too?" "That's different." "How is it different?" "Because you're my wife?" I laughed, a sharp, bitter sound. "I'm your wife on paper. But Derek, I haven't felt like your wife in a long time. You made a choice. Now I'm making one, too. Do you love him?" "I barely know him. But I like him. And he makes me feel like maybe I'm worth something. Like maybe I'm not just someone who gets left behind while the people I love choose each other." Derek started crying then. "I never wanted to lose you. You already lost me." We sat there for a while. Both of us finally understanding that this was really the end. "We should tell the kids," I said, my voice quiet. "For real this time. We should separate properly. Get the divorce. Figure out a real custody arrangement." "What about Nathan? Is he going to be around them?" "Not yet. Maybe never. I don't know. But Derek, you don't get to decide that. You lost that right when you decided Marcus was more important." He nodded. He knew I was right. We told Lily and Mason the next day. Sat them down together in the living room. "We have something to tell you guys," Derek started, his voice gentle. They both looked worried immediately. "Kids can sense when something's wrong." "Daddy and I are getting divorced," I said gently. "We're going to live in separate houses. You'll spend time with both of us, just in different places." Lily's eyes filled with tears. "But I don't want you to get divorced." "I know, sweetie. We don't want this either, but sometimes grown-ups realize they're better as friends than as married people." "Is it because of Uncle Marcus?" Mason asked, his small voice cutting through the tension. Derek and I looked at each other in shock. "What do you mean, buddy?" Derek asked, taken aback. "I heard you and Mommy fighting about Uncle Marcus. A long time ago, before he moved in with us, I heard Mommy say his name, and you were both crying. Kids hear everything." Of course, he'd heard something. "Uncle Marcus and I are really good friends," Derek said carefully. "And sometimes that was confusing for Mommy and me. But this isn't about him. This is about your mom and me realizing we want different things in life." It wasn't the whole truth, but it was enough truth for an 8-year-old and a 6-year-old. They asked questions. We answered them as honestly as we could. Told them they'd have 2 homes but would always have both their parents. That we love them more than anything. That none of this was their fault. By the end of the conversation, they weren't happy, but they understood. Derek moved out 2 weeks later, found a nice apartment nearby. We set up a week-on, week-off schedule for the kids. The house felt empty without him. But it also felt like mine again. Jennifer helped me pack up all of Derek's remaining things. All the photos of us that were still on walls and shelves. "How are you feeling?" she asked. "I don't know," I admitted. Sad, relieved, scared, everything. That's normal. Is it? I feel like I should be more upset, like I should be devastated, but mostly I just feel free. That's okay, too. Nathan and I kept seeing each other, slowly, carefully. He met the kids in August at a park play date with his daughter. They got along well. Lily especially liked him. I didn't introduce him as my boyfriend, just as a friend. But Lily's smart. She figured it out eventually. "Do you love Nathan?" she asked me one night at bedtime. "I don't know yet, sweetie, but I like him a lot." "More than you love Daddy?" "I love Daddy very much, but sometimes love isn't enough. Sometimes people need different things." "Does Daddy love Uncle Marcus more than he loved you?" I wasn't expecting that question. I thought for a minute about how to answer. I think Daddy loves Uncle Marcus in a different way than he loved me. Not more or less, just different. "Oh," she said then. "I think Uncle Marcus was sad when he moved out. My sweet, observant daughter, missing nothing." The divorce was final in October. Almost 2 full years after that first night when everything fell apart. Derek and I split everything as fairly as possible. He kept his car. I kept mine. We sold the big house we'd gotten for the 3-person arrangement and split the proceeds. He got his own place. I got my own place. Different neighborhoods, but still close enough for the kids. Marcus came to the final mediation meeting. I'd asked him to. There were some things I needed to say. We met at a coffee shop, just the two of us. "Thank you for coming," I said. "Of course." "What did you want to talk about?" "I wanted to tell you that I forgive you." He looked shocked, his eyes wide. "What?" "I forgive you. Both of you. For all of it. The lying, the affair, the impossible situation you put me in. I forgive it." "Rachel, I don't understand." I spent 2 years being angry, being hurt, feeling betrayed. And I had every right to feel those things. But I'm tired of carrying it around. I'm tired of letting what you did define my whole life. So, I'm choosing to forgive you. Not because you deserve it, but because I deserve peace. Marcus started crying again. "I don't know what to say." "You don't have to say anything. I'm not asking for an apology or explanation. I just wanted you to know. I miss being your friend," he said, his voice raw. "Is that something we could ever have again?" "Maybe not now," I admitted. "But maybe someday. I need more time." "I understand. Are you happy?" I asked him. "With Derek?" He nodded. "Yeah, I am. I wish it hadn't happened this way. I wish I hadn't hurt you, but yes, I'm happy." "Good. I'm glad. I really am." And I meant it. Somewhere along the way, I'd stopped wishing they'd be miserable. Stopped hoping karma would punish them. I just wanted everyone to be okay, including me. "Are you happy?" he asked. "With Nathan?" "Getting there," I said, a small smile forming. "Taking it slow. But yeah, I think I could be." We sat there for a while longer. Two people who used to be best friends, finding our way to something new, something neither of us could quite name yet. When I got home that night, Nathan was waiting on my front porch. I'd given him a key a few weeks earlier. "Hi," he said, standing up when he saw me. "I hope it's okay I came by. I know you said you were meeting Marcus and might need space after." "It's more than okay," I said, and stepped into his waiting embrace. He just held me there on my front porch while the sun set, the air cool around us. "How did it go?" he asked softly. "Better than expected." I told him I forgave him. That must have been hard. It was. But it also felt right. Like I was releasing something I'd been holding on to for too long. We went inside, made dinner together, talked about our days. This was my life now. Smaller than it had been, different than I'd planned, but mine. The kids adapted better than I expected. They liked having 2 homes, 2 sets of toys, 2 different routines. Derek was a good dad when it was his week. Present and attentive in a way he hadn't always been during our marriage. He and Marcus were living together now, had been since right after the divorce was final. The kids visited them sometimes during Derek's weeks. They still loved Uncle Marcus, still treated him like family. I made peace with that, with them having a relationship with him. It wasn't their fault what happened between us adults. Nathan met Derek eventually, at a school event we all attended. They were cordial, polite. 2 men with nothing in common except caring about the same woman. Derek pulled me aside at one point. "He seems nice," he said. "He is. Are you in love with him?" I thought about that question. About what love even meant anymore after everything I'd been through. "I think I might be," I said. "But I'm being careful, taking my time. I'm not rushing into anything." "That's smart," Derek said, a sad smile on his face. "Then I'm happy for you, Rachel. I know that sounds hollow coming from me, but it's true. You deserve to be happy. So do you." And that was the truth. Despite everything. Despite all the pain and betrayal and complications, I wanted Derek to be happy. I wanted Marcus to be happy. I wanted my kids to be happy. And for the first time in 2 years, I wanted me to be happy, too. Not someday. Not eventually. But now. That night, after the kids were asleep at Derek's place for his week, Nathan and I sat on my couch, watching a movie. "Can I ask you something?" he said. "Sure. Do you think you'll ever trust someone completely again? After what happened?" I thought about it. I don't know. Maybe not the way I trusted Derek before, but I think I can trust differently. Trust while also keeping a part of myself separate. Trust while knowing that people can still surprise you. Does that make sense? Perfect sense. What about you? After your divorce? Same. I think my ex broke something in me, but maybe broken things can be put back together. They'll never be exactly the same, but they can still be whole. We kissed then, slowly, sweetly. And I felt something I hadn't felt in a very long time. Hope. Not hope that everything would be perfect. Not hope that I'd found my soulmate or my forever person or any of those fairy tale concepts. Just hope that tomorrow would be a little better than today. That I was building something new on the ruins of what I'd lost. That my story wasn't over. It was just a different story than the one I'd planned. And maybe, possibly, it could still have a happy ending. This journey has been unimaginable, filled with twists I never saw coming. I've had to redefine what family means, what love means, and what happiness looks like. What about you? Have you ever had to redefine what happy means in your life? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your stories.